Hey everybody, it's Kerry. If you're new to my channel, I'm a Colorado-based Vedic astrologer who's been practicing, teaching, and consulting with astrology for over 2 decades. So, welcome to this. This is a weekly look ahead. We look from Sunday to Saturday. So we're looking at the 18th of January up until the 24th. Last week was a lot for a lot of people. I personally have been on the road to wellness all last week. I haven't been feeling super great. You can hear it in my voice. But that last week, what happened was we had, if you look at this little group of planets here, all of them moved from Sagittarius up into Capricorn. So there was a lot of shifting, a lot of movement last week as the moon itself was waning. So what is happening at the moment right now, and this is Sunday morning, the 18th of January, this what we're showing is just before the new moon moment. So the moon will come up and join the sun up there at 4 to 5 degrees Capricorn, and that'll be our new moon. Every single one of these planets is in the sign of Capricorn. So it's a good time to start thinking about what does that mean? And maybe it would be good to figure out what Capricorn means in your chart. What house is it? Because all of this activity in that little spot in the zodiac could mean that for your life, it triggers events or actions that you're going to take that have to do with whatever house in your chart fills up with Capricorn. So, anywho, I'm going to read you the little bit I had about the new moon. This isn't the whole thing, but just I thought it was interesting. All right, so Capricorn and all this group of planets coalescing in Uttarashada Nakshatra. Addressing the collective needs slows the group down, but it also assures that each group member is supported. As we together continue to rise towards success and achievement, we are tasked with both responsibly moving ourselves forward while at the same time supporting others to advance, find strength, and stay safe while getting there. Think of this new moon moment as a cold morning on a steep trail that is taking you to your goal. Retreating is not an option. Leaving the others behind is not an option. Take stock of intentions, strategies, personnel, materials, and resources. Shift the burdens among group members to rebalance for the climb ahead. Leave behind what is not essential. So that was just the message I wrote down in my monthly forecast. I can link to that too. You can either read my forecasts, my monthly forecasts. They're extensive. They're long, like 3,000 to 4,000 words. And they're original. I write them myself. All by myself. And I also read them out, and so you can listen to it like a podcast. You can find those on this YouTube channel. So given that, that's kicking off our week. It has a couple of themes come up to me. To me, the new moon is a starting point. I feel like you could either look at the full moon as a starting point or the new moon. I like the new moon. To me, it feels like very vulnerable and very much like, okay, we just finished that thing. The moon waned. We feel empty and ready to perceive what's ahead. So for me, I feel new moons are a starting point, the start of the lunar cycle. So here we are. The other parts of the theme is that there's still a lot of feeling of ending and wrapping things up. And I think that's going to be persistent the whole time Saturn is in Pisces, which is a while. That's going to be for like 2 more years. So, Saturn's not in a hurry though. Sometimes things take a long time to end or recycle or complete. So that ever-present feeling of like, hey, you guys, we need to like wrap this up and move forward in a bigger picture kind of way is being indicated by Saturn remaining in Pisces, the final sign of the zodiac. So Saturn also happens to rule the sign of Capricorn, where all of those planets are coming into a feeling of newness. I mentioned probably last week, it's all blurry at this point. Uttarashada Nakshatra is where all of those planets are going to be. For those of you who don't know what nakshatra means, the nakshatra division of the zodiac, it's taking the same star space that we look at and define as Aries, Taurus, Gemini, etc. We overlay that 12-fold division with a 27-fold division. The moon roughly moves through one of those divisions per day. They each have their own name, they have their own symbol, they have their own deity associated, they have a planetary ruler, etc. So they give a little more flavor to, a smaller, finer zone of the zodiac. Uttarashada, which is where they all are. The word is kind of like flowing toward ultimate victory. That's kind of awesome, actually. And it actually spans between Sagittarius and Capricorn. And Capricorn is the natural 10th sign of the zodiac. So where it does seem like we're reaching a summit, we're driving toward a goal, something usually that takes a lot of time and effort. So if you feel like you're in that moment in some kind of department of your life, like, okay, I've wanted to do this for a long time. I really need to start walking toward this goal. Like, that could be because of all these planets there. So use the later part of January and the early part of February, while there's a lot of emphasis on the sign of Capricorn, to put your head down and pick up loose ends and walk towards your goal. Saturn will be happy with you. And the other thing too is, like, as you're doing things, if you feel like, oh wow, this is heavy, this is a burden, I don't know if I can make it. Saturn helps with being determined and going forward anyway. But Saturn is also good with separating and saying, you know what, that heavy part, that brick you're carrying for absolutely no reason in your backpack, you can actually leave that. You don't need that part. Is it really useful? Is it really going toward the goal? Is it supporting our collective effort? So anywho, all right, so this is Sunday. Let's just look day to day. I'll go through the days for you, mostly with last week being the major move of all those planets. The only thing really moving this week is the moon. It's waxing, so it's getting a little bigger every day. Sunday, Monday into Tuesday, we're getting moon in Capricorn. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Aquarius. So the moon is with Rahu. And then toward the end of the week, the moon will move up into Pisces and hang around with Saturn and Neptune. I'm now talking about the outer planets. So, speaking of the outer planets, I had mentioned last week about Pluto and how it kind of caught my eye because it was an empty room that everybody was moving into. Now everybody's kind of like scooting around Pluto. Which also brings me to the idea of, like, when I say there's a lot of planets in a sign, for the most part, like, we're concentrating on that sign. But there's something called aspects. I'll talk about that in another video. It's a complicated thing, but the idea is that a planet can project its energy, just like I'm projecting into your phone right now, through a magical thing called aspecting. Really, it's just facing. Like, if you were sitting across, I'm at my kitchen table. If you were across the table right now, I would be looking at you and we would be having a conversation, and we have good aspect to each other. So there's a channel. It's kind of a contact, even though there's not physical contact. So most of the planets have the ability to aspect across from where they are, just like me at my table. So, and in addition to that, some of them have other aspects, like Rahu and Jupiter, each aspect each other right now, which is creating energy, kind of nutty energy, actually. So when I talk about all these planets in Capricorn, I feel like we also need to look over there at Cancer, because that all of those planets are kind of globbing and looking across their table. And so Cancer, in effect, is getting a little bit of reverberation from all those planets in Capricorn. So just saying, you can apply that, unpack that little tidbit to any planet. Okay, they're affecting really where they are and across their table. So Capricorn is really highlighted right now. Hey, Cancer, heads up. That's your 7th house. That's your house of relationships. So things could happen in your 7th house. All right. Okay, I'm advancing us to Monday. So the moon is still going to be in Capricorn, but it starts that day out in Shravana Nakshatra, which is a little bit of a softer nakshatra, good for a Monday. I'm just going to say it now. It looks like this might not be a calm week, because number one, when the moon is with other planets, it's kind of like me or you. We're going to feel different if we're in a room alone or if we're in a room with a bunch of people. It's natural. Same thing is the moon is like our own mind. And so moving through all of these planets this week, and I mentioned some weeks ago, once a week, every month, our moon is going to move past Rahu and Saturn. And that alone is not calm. And Rahu has been very strong, sitting in Shatabhi Nakshatra, and it's super dynamic. The ground seems to be moving under people's feet at the moment. So it's probably not going to be a calm week. You're going to have to find little pockets here and there to rest and get things done. But there's going to be a lot of noise, I feel like, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of changes, a lot of unexpected things. So that's the story. All right. All right. So this is Monday. Moon is in Shravana. We got to do what we can. I'm not going to spend a lot. I'm not feeling great, you guys. So I'm just going to kind of wing through this. So here's Tuesday. Moon will start the day in Dhanishta, which is a nakshatra that spans between Capricorn and Aquarius, which now is when I'll tell you that Saturn is the ruler of both of those signs. Those are the only adjacent signs in the zodiac that are ruled by one planet. Fun fact. And that planet happens to be Saturn. Aquarius, of course, is co-ruled by Rahu, that RA that you see sitting there, making it kind of an odd and dynamic sign. So anywho, Dhanishta is Tuesday, and that the moon will kind of jump over from Capricorn into Aquarius and into the pool with our friend Rahu. That's Tuesday. Honestly, if you got to get something done, Tuesday might not be bad. Okay. We all have to get things done all the time. All right, Wednesday, moon has moved over, and this is Shatabhi Nakshatra. This is a super wild little zone of the zodiac, and Rahu being there right now is why I think it's been an interesting first start of 2026. So let's expect some changes on Wednesday. I'm going to also mention for you guys who are tracking Rahu and Ketu, which is the nodal axis, if you're tracking like me, whether they're actually going direct on certain days, later on Wednesday, Rahu will go into direct motion. What does that mean? It's almost like the other planets going retrograde makes them a little bit more wobbly. It seems like when Rahu and Ketu go direct, maybe they're a little more stable. Don't quote me on that. Don't get your hopes up. But anywho, all right, so Thursday. So Thursday, we've got the moon has gone past Rahu. It's starting out that day in Purva Bhadra Nakshatra, which is right where Saturn, I forgot to tell you. We got to rewind just mentally. On the 19th, which is Monday, Saturn quietly moved just enough into Pisces, a little further, that he switched nakshatras, which is kind of notable because he moved so slow. So he moved from Purvabhadra into Uttarabhadra, those words. And I don't know, we'll talk more about that next week, but just a note, Saturn moved. I actually talk about it in the forecast if you want to go check that out. The January 2026 forecast. Okay, so the moon, and this is Thursday. So we got the direct Rahu, we've got the moon starting out the day in Aquarius. Again, I don't think it's going to be super calm energy this week. Moon with Rahu tends to generate confusion, delusion, sometimes amazing ideas. So get your journal and write things down because that could also happen. Anyway, so Thursday. Let's go to Friday. Friday starts out with the moon up there in Pisces. And worth noting, as I mentioned, that our Saturn and Neptune there are both in Uttarabhadra. They're going to be coming up on a kind of dynamic conjunction. I think it's February 19th and 20th, which is kind of a big deal. Saturn and Neptune coming together. Yeah, so I'll talk more about that as it comes, but just a little flag, and that looks interesting. And given that, let's look at January 23rd, 2026. It could reverberate to a few weeks out to that the next time the moon comes around. So just interesting. If you can't get it finished this week, you'll have another chance in February. All right. What else? Let's see. Saturday. Moon is in Revati, which is the very final little slice of the zodiac, the very end of Pisces. And it's the end of the week. It's the end of the zodiac. So there's that ending feeling again. But the moon is just getting revved up, waxing until full in a couple weeks. So anywho, that's what this week looks like. And I want to point out, too, that Rahu and Ketu, yes, they're going to be direct. They go retrograde later on that Saturday, by the way. And I just want to note that they've reached the midpoint of the sign that they're in. It takes Rahu and Ketu about 1.5 years to go through a sign, and they do it in backwards motion. They walk backwards. So it's almost like this churning feeling as they move through the zodiac in the opposite direction of all these other planets. So they've reached their midway point. They will move signs. Rahu will move into Capricorn. Ketu will move into Cancer in November. Let's just think of November for now. So all of that, gosh, there's so much. Anyway, I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves too. I haven't had a lot of time to work on my side projects. I will continue to do these weekly things, but I have so many ideas of other videos I want to make for you. So I always enjoy reading your comments and interacting when you ask questions. So feel free to do that, or push the like button. Let me know how I'm doing. All right, that's it for now. I'm running out of things to say. I hope you have a good week and take care of yourself. Oh, one more thing. One of the things I wanted to do was the 2026 overview video, and I just haven't had the energy. So I will try to do that in the next couple days. That'll be this week's little gift. All right. Thanks a lot for watching. Everybody take care. All right. Bye.